Hello, geeks. It's a brand new year, which means it's time for our annual look back and look ahead at the world of entertainment. I just hope this hosting gig goes better than Joe Coy's recent Golden Globes debacle.
We are Geekcentric, and you can be too. Love ya.
Get home safe, guys.
Peace.
What's up, geeks? This is the Geekcentric podcast, and this is our annual Geek Back episode where we share our favorite movies, TV shows, and games, as well as our biggest disappointments from the previous year, while also sharing what we're most excited about in the year ahead. My name is Kev, and if you're joining us for the first time, well, you're starting your year off right. We are Geekcentric, a podcast covering the world of movies, television shows, toys, collectibles, and all things geek-centric. 2023 was an incredible year for Geekcentric as we continue to grow and develop our reach in the entertainment world and expand our coverage of all things that we love to watch. We were busy this year, putting out over 55 reviews and conducting more than 40 interviews, not to mention the 6 watch clubs we hosted, as well as over a dozen other episodes covering award season and the various conventions we attended. Oh, and one of us got the full red carpet treatment in Hollywood with an unbelievable, hopefully not once-in-a-lifetime experience. In addition, we were recently named the #1 geek podcast to follow in 2024 by Feedspot.com. Of course, none of this would be possible without a hardworking team of dedicated geeks hell-bent on sharing their love of all things geek-centric. So without further ado, allow me to reintroduce the team. There's not a rageaholic amongst the bunch, so you'll never have a beef. But they'll surely try to convince you that a heron can be a scary beast. They certainly aren't killers, and would never invent the atomic bomb, but they'll have you laughing like reservation dogs, even though it wasn't a sitcom. Though none of them are as old as I am, they're not quite part of Gen V, but they might try to convince you that the zone of interest is the place to be. They aren't as rich as the kids in Succession, but have all the heart in the world. They'll tickle you pink with all their charms and make you feel like a Barbie girl. They'll open gaming worlds of magic wands and spiderwebs of venom. These super podcast bros will make you wonder why there's tears in this kingdom. These poor things work so tirelessly because to them podcasting's a love affair. They're always cooking something up like a talented, relentless bear. I'd travel all the way across the Spider-Verse just to be a holdover with them. I'm not sure what they were in their past lives, but now I'm happy to call them friends. Justin, Nate, Darcy, Meg, Happy New Year. How was everyone's holidays?
Wow.
I think
you got them all. Yeah.
Kevin, I'm out of a job, I think. After that intro, I think you're the new intro guy. That was something else. Wow.
I mean, he's just lived up to his name as the writer. That was the original tag is hit.
Just wait till you see my opening monologue I'm planning for our future Oscars episode. This was just a warning for that. But yeah,
nice, a little tease.
Eat my dust, Joe Coy. And whoever you have writing for you.
For real.
But no,
they should have hired you.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Foreign Writers Press Association, whatever you're calling yourselves now. If you're looking, I'm open. But no, how was everyone's holidays, New Year? We were talking off air. Justin and I had quite the booze-filled adventure on New Year's Eve. But there's more to it than that. There's family, there's friends, and there's lots of gifts and goodies. So yeah, any highlights anybody wants to share from the holiday season?
I mean, I think I think eating too much is always a wonderful highlight, and we're blessed that we get to do that. And it was just kind of getting to the point where like we would have like leftover. We stayed a little longer this year with my mom's side of the family, and so it was getting to the point where like, wait, we're having this breakfast again, like a full Irish. Breakfast. It was amazing, and it's just it was really. I think that was the biggest highlight for me, was just getting to be with the family this year. It was
nice.
Lovely.
Yeah, I think it's nice that all of us have, either kids or nieces and nephews that we get to watch the holiday magic through now. I think I've realized in the last couple of years that's the holiday magic has sort of dwindled for me, but getting to see that through my niece's eyes this year as she's 2 and she really like gets it and is excited about presents and stuff. It's so fun to see her and the magic in her eyes. So that was a good time.
It kind of reinvents and recreates that magic for you, right? Like I know Justin and I, our daughters, this was their second Christmas, but I mean, they were just little potatoes last year. They didn't know what was going on. They wore some cute little Christmas themed pajamas and sat around while everybody. But I know for myself, my little daughter Robbie, she's starting to talk, and a lot of her first words were very Christmas centric. So we got lots of ho ho hos and Santa and reindeer, and I think the highlight for me was her favorite movie very quickly became The Grinch, starring Jim Carrey, and so I probably watched that about 30 times over the holiday season. I'm almost ready to just cancel the show and say that's my favorite movie, not just of this year, but any year. It's the greatest movie ever. But I don't think that would be fair to a lot of terrific movies and television shows. Speaking of which, just this past weekend, we had our first big award show of the year as the Golden Globes celebrated the best in television and movies. Big winners on the big screen included Oppenheimer, The Holdovers, and Poor Things, while Succession, The Bear, and Beef dominated the television categories. Were there any highlights, lowlights, surprises, or disappointments that you guys wanted to quickly talk about?
Well, I think Joe Coy is definitely a big disappointment. I feel bad for him, but at the same time, it's, those jokes weren't vetted, and I don't think that they were appreciated. So, there was just an air of ignorance in and around his jokes to a certain degree, which, you know what, Ricky Gervais, just bring him back. He made things uncomfortable.
At least
they were hilarious.
He offends people in an intelligent way,
Yeah,
in the right way.
In the right way.
Or you could maybe have a host that's like just a host and, complimenting the people in the crowd and supporting the amazing art that everybody made.
I would have loved to have seen Tina Fey and Amy Poehler come back. I think that would have been a better option for hosting. But no, I think a lot of what the awards for the Golden Globes, it's always teed up as sort of the precursor to the Oscars. And a lot of the movies that were talked about for award noms, they were showcased really, really well. Movies and TV shows actually at the Golden Globes, and they all deserve their flowers for what 2023 brought, and was strong films and return to theater, and definitely strong television. Television continues to dominate and be sort of the new facet of storytelling outside of films, as films become more special theater experiences. There's becoming this clear distinction between the two, but the same level of craft, the same level of storytelling, the same level of all the things that we love of that make them so special is invested in them. So it was great to see some big firsts at the Globes, especially with Lily Gladstone winning for Best Actress. I think that definitely cues her up for Oscars, and it's going to be interesting to see how the Oscars kind of shake out, because the categories are always far less, right? The Golden Globes has two sets of categories with 5 and 5 almost, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And, whereas the Oscars is just one category: Best Actress, Best Actor, Best Picture usually can be the one that's either 5 or 10, but usually they're usually just 5 nominations. So it'll be interesting to see who gets in those 5 nominations for those categories.
Yeah, I mean, the Globes are kind of nice in that you get to celebrate a few more performances than just the Oscars. Mm-hmm. So that is one of the better aspects of that show for sure.
And I also wanted to shout out just such a better way of announcing the best animated category. Not just because my girl Flo Poo was up on stage there with Natalie Portman, the original, but no, I think the way that they were able to talk about the concept of animation as a medium and as a way of telling stories, and just the respect that they gave it is so much better than some of the times in the past when it was just about
degraded,
their kids' favorite movies, right?
Yeah. The one downside, aside from Joe Coy, is that his name?
Yeah.
The one downside to me is I feel like a lot of TV and film were categorized incorrectly this year, and I don't know
if that's every award show though.
But the Emmys is obviously very much where TV shines, and there's proper categories based on the TV syndicated structure of how it works, whereas the Globes is like this sort of celebratory mixed medium, mixed bag of content from all sides, and they definitely what they
That
put
makes
in
no
specific
sense.
categories is musical
I
comedy.
mean, they called
or,
May
or-
December a
Right.
comedy or musical.
What?
Like it, I haven't seen it yet.
It was a
but
dark
it's
comedy if it
not-
was a comedy. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
But if a drama at any point in time just has some laughs for levity because it is such a heavy drama, that doesn't make it a comedy.
No,
You
not
know what
at
I mean?
all.
It's just like I don't know.
No.
I mean, I think if anything, if you're the 6th best drama of the year, you just don't make it into the
Yeah.
nominations. But to squeak it into a different category and think nobody's going to notice.
And to take away from
crazy.
actual comedies and actual musicals, it's just unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm
Exactly.
sure they could have found another terrific film to put in there instead. I will just quickly say that in terms of the acceptance speeches, there were a lot of terrific ones, especially like you mentioned from some first-time winners, Justin. But like hands down, Robert Downey Jr. stole the show, in my opinion, with his acceptance speech. A great way to do it with humility, a little self-deprecation, thanking everybody and having fun. And then speaking of self-deprecation, if you don't bring back Kerry Russell and Ray Romano to present an award at the Oscars, you're missing a huge opportunity because I thought they were absolutely phenomenal.
Good stuff.
All right, well, much like the Golden Globes celebrated the best in movies and television, this is why we are here today. We're going to look at our favorite movies, television shows, animated projects, and even video games of 2023. We will then share our biggest disappointments of the year, but we won't stay dour too long as we wrap up the show by looking at some of the movies and TV shows and games we are most excited about for 2024. So without further ado, let's get this party started. 2023 saw some huge numbers at the box office, including billion-dollar returns on a 3-hour historical courtroom drama and an intelligent reimagining of an iconic toy line. Streaming services also had one of their biggest years, as some of the best pictures of the year aren't merely reserved for theatrical release anymore. It's time to talk about our favorite movies of 2023. Justin, why don't you start us off?
Wow, I'm the one kicking this one off. Okay. This was a tough category because, as you mentioned, there were some strong contenders in the movie category, and we just talked about the Globes, seeing all the love for Oppenheimer. I'm so excited for that film to hopefully take some big Oscar wins when the Oscars come around, and. We got some of our geekiest movies, some really fun stuff. The movie that I chose, though, is probably a little it's well known and it did well, but I think it's one that you guys probably aren't going to suspect. It's a movie I've watched a few times this year. It came out obviously earlier this year, I believe in April. It's a Canadian film. This is Blackberry, directed by Matt Johnson,
Ooh.
starring Jay Baruchel, Matt Johnson, and Glenn Howerton. I honestly think that this movie is a remarkable achievement for Canadian cinema, which is why I really enjoyed it. I love telling the story of the rise and fall of BlackBerry, which, as we all know, is the original smartphone before the iPhone. You have an outstanding cast, and honestly, this movie just finds such a way to balance comedy, factual storytelling, and drama in a really captivating way with these outstanding performances. And I think that's just it's so a la Aaron Sorkin, or even to another degree Adam McKay, where there's just this idea of having fun and telling the story in an authentic way, but still having fun with it. And Glenn Howerton is just outstanding in this movie. Honestly, he is so friggin' good. And I just love the way Matt Johnson shot it. I think the idea of shooting it on long lenses so that there's more, you're further away from where these moments are happening, and it's about them sort of unfolding in a very natural way without the rhetoric of feeling like you're being watched by cameras. They staged it in a very documentary way. And I just think, again, the film is just such an example of what Canadian cinema could be when you sort of break that mold of the sort of stories and sort of things the sort of stories that are so intrinsic to Canadian heritage. This is different, and it shows a real strong sense of forward thinking for what's next in Canadian film. So yeah, I've watched that movie three times over this year, and I really did enjoy it, and it's one that I've come back to constantly.
I do think that the critical response to it is terrific, and I think Johnson has a wonderful future ahead of him. I can't wait to see sort of what he does next, because I was taken by surprise with how much I really, really enjoyed that movie. So yeah, it was excellent. Meg, we're going to move on to you. What was your favorite movie of 2023?
Okay, well, I don't think it's any surprise which movie I'm going to pick. My favorite movie of 2023 came out on July 21st this year. It literally won the box office. And my favorite movie is Barbie.
Woo!
It's iconic. This movie was about everything female on the surface, but deep down gave a voice to those who felt stifled and stuck in the structure of what society deems correct. Men should be manly men who don't cry or express themselves, and women should be, well, just listen to America Ferrera's monologue. Incredible sets, nostalgic and poignant references, and a Ryan Gosling temper tantrum I can get behind. It's pink and fun and absolutely hilarious, but also incredibly powerful and effortless in its themes and meaning. All in all, the perfect movie.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think Oppenheimer's the best movie of the year. Iron Claw at the end of the year did so much for me as a wrestling fan to see a story from that world being told with respect and with, such amazing craftsmanship. It was a real thrill for me, but Barbie was sublime. And I'm Just Ken might be my favorite musical number in a movie ever, and certainly since Blame Canada many, many years ago. That movie rocked my pink socks right off. I'm right there with you. Nate.
Yeah, no, I wanted to jump in and just sort of because we had seen the movie. I think we saw it twice together, yep. Megan, with different groups of people. And just the way that my cheeks hurt. I think that's the number one thing we talked about. Not the cheeks downstairs, but the cheeks upstairs hurt from smiling and laughing so much. And yeah, just such incredible performances, and the way that they're able to sort of take this movie and it was interesting because I think we had noted there were a lot of little kids and young girls that were in the audience that were just kind of some of them were a little bored and not really, because their parents thought, oh, it's Barbie, it's a kid's movie. What a great way to take an existing IP and deliver such an important message. I think it was incredible, and I really can't wait to see what she does next. Greta Gerwig, that is.
Yeah.
I also think it's funny, the testament to how big Barbie was the fact that we were seeing people dressing up to go to the movies, and it wasn't a Star Wars or MCU event. They had their Barbie movie outfits, and that was a thing on the internet. Was, what are you wearing to go see Barbie? How pink are you dressing? And just the fact that became a phenomenon just speaks volumes to the movie itself. So yeah, great pick, guys.
100%. I'm with you there, Darce. I'm sad that it took me and Sarah about a month or so to go see it. So by the time we did, there was just scheduling conflicts. We missed it early on, but I had such a stellar outfit for that movie. My pink polo and cool surfer shorts. So I still wore it a month and a half later. I was the only one kind of dressed up at that point. But no, it was kind of cool to see a movie outside of the traditional geek sphere get that sort of cosplay treatment and excitement.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it's just another example of movies being back in theater. That's why it deserved the award for sort of winning the box office, because it put people in that theater to experience that movie, and it eventized it. It made it something that was really special by dressing up with your friends and doing that. So I think that it's very clear that both studios probably talked to each other, Oppenheimer and Barbie going out on the same day, but they both knew the value of what they were going to be doing by coming out on that day and by putting people in the theater. And I think Hollywood recognizes that. Hollywood acknowledges that, which is why you're going to see, I think, hopefully more love for Barbie at the Oscars, because I don't think that they have an award like who won the box office. So maybe they will eventually.
They should add one.
They should probably add one, but it's pretty clear.
Well, Zack Snyder won't win the Fan Choice Awards this year, so maybe Barbie's got it.
Hopefully not. There's no bots that are gonna sing. But again, it's just this idea of celebrating these movies for doing the work that has kind of it's working against what happened with the pandemic, right? So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I know we said no honorable mentions, but I just want to talk about the event thing that happened with Barbie. It also happened with a little Taylor Swift. And I just want to shout out that whole Eras Tour movie. It was iconic. It was another movement that happened, and it was a pretty incredible experience. As somebody who was not much of a Taylor Swift fan going to see the movie, hearing people scream in a theater as though it's an actual concert.
Yeah, that'd be
and
fun.
having
Yeah.
kids running around
Dancing
and like
and stuff?
dancing and stuff. It was the most unbelievable thing I've ever experienced in a movie theater. And even if you're not a Taylor Swift fan, it is a crazy experience. So it was a good one.
It's the best show on earth. She's the best performer alive. And, you know, I'm glad she got nominated in that category and would have almost been fine with that production winning simply because it brought in hundreds of millions of dollars to the theaters so that other, you know, that helps
100%.
all of us, you know, whether you're a Swiftie, whether you want to see that movie, that helps us as movie fans. And so Taylor Swift, you're doing it all over the place. You are truly a queen. Darcy, how about yourself? Favorite movie of the year?
Yeah. So mine, I was looking back and it took me a while, like trying to think of all the movies we've been to this year. We've been to so many, and a lot of them are standouts, especially in the animation category. But I wanted to, because we're going to gush about that later on, I decided to go live action for my favorite movie, and it was an earlier release as well. And it was, maybe it's recency bias because I'm back into playing D&D a lot, but D&D Honor Among Thieves to me is
sweet choice.
what I go to movies for. I go to a movie to be entertained and be taken on an adventure, and D&D Honor Among Thieves is that to a T, while also being a great homage to D&D itself. So everything about that movie is so enjoyable. Every time I go back to it, I always smile at different things and random jokes. So to me, that is the standout movie of the year, is D&D Honor Among Thieves.
I remember you, me, and Meg coming out of that theater being like, was that not awesome? Like, just like, are we all on the same page? Because like we were pretty thrilled and surprised, because I think we all anticipated that movie not to hit as well. And while it didn't do great at the box office based on the standards of what the box office demands, I think it was well received. There's enough people that there's definitely talks of a sequel. It's just a matter of what that looks like. But yeah, this is another one of those surprise hits from 2023 that definitely delivered.
Totally. And I think it's cool because a movie like Dungeons and Dragons, you think would only appeal to people who play the game, but it's so much bigger than that, and you didn't need to know anything about the game. Yeah, when you go into that movie, you don't need to know what the game consists of. You can still enjoy it, and all the jokes hit. All the weird, fantastical things also hit, even though it's so strange. But yeah,
Chris Pine's face melting, like,
right? And shout out to Jarnathan.
Oh, poor Jonathan. Yeah, you know, I think 23 years ago, we saw just how bad a Dungeons and Dragons movie could be.
oh my God.
And so the fact that this was not just better than that, but so good was really, really awesome. That was certainly one of the most fun and enjoyable movies of the year. Nate, let's wrap this category up with your choice for your favorite movie of the year.
Yeah, you guys got me hyped to watch that movie. I got to check out Dungeons
The fact
and
that
Dragons.
you haven't.
I can't believe you haven't
Wow.
seen
At
it.
this point
Seen
now,
it yet?
come on. You're sleeping on a hit, man.
I'll check it
What
out. I'll
have you
check
been
it out
doing?
soon.
Watching and reviewing 100 other movies? Come on, man.
For real. But no, you know what? I think I'm gonna wrap up this category, or better yet, I'm going to web up this category with my favorite film of 2023. There have been some incredible 4s and 5s out of 5s that we reviewed. You know, we brought up the Iron Claw. We didn't bring up, but Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, at least for myself, and I know we've talked about Oppenheimer, but this is the year of animation. And my favorite film of the year is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. This movie just held unmatched style, and it's just an accomplishment in filmmaking, just as much as any of the other accomplishments in filmmaking that we got in 2023. And just the visual mastery, it's on full display in this movie, and there's just unbelievable character design, world building, the variety of characters on screen is just insane to think about how much work went into it, but all the way down to the really subtle things that I loved about the movie as well, like the color shifting universe in Gwen's Spider-Verse, where, you know, it goes along with her mood. I get something new every time I go back to the movie. And I love that it's a love letter to all things Spider-Man, to all things comic book, to art, to music, to Miles' Afro-Puerto Rican heritage and culture. And it just gets so much right. So I can't stop smiling every time I think about the movie. And this might be hyperbole, but I want to go on record here in 2023 and say this. It is right up there with The Empire Strikes Back and The Two Towers, Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, as one of the best sequels in existence. And I'm so happy that we're going to get another one. I don't know how it's going to top it, but yeah, Spider-Man. That's the one for me.
Thwip, thwip.
I want to say something, but it's my animated one.
Okay, we'll get to it, I guess.
I'll say it.
We'll
say it then.
save
Sure,
it
yeah.
eventually. But first, we are going to change the channel and take a look at our favorite television programs of the past.
What's a channel?
Oh, right. Right. I think I'm probably the only one who still has like basic cable.
Do you mean resubscribe? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. What streaming service is that? I haven't heard of that one yet. Do
Yeah.
I need to get it? Darce, I'm going to start with you because I have a feeling I know what you're going to say, and I'm excited to talk about this one a little bit. So, Darce, lead us off.
How many pieces do you think Darcy's going to talk about?
Well, that's the thing is, One Piece is an easy choice for me because not only the live action was standout, but this year in terms of the anime going on right now, we got one of the biggest events in the animated version of Gear 5 and the debut of that. So it is the best time to be a One Piece fan right now, and I'm so glad that the live action managed to draw in so many new fans. The fact that I'm able to talk about One Piece with Kevin, who before this live action, he would roll his eyes whenever I brought it up because it's so far-fetched and fantastical, but they nail it and they get the whole pirate adventure right and what it means to be a part of a crew and part of a family in that first season. So I cannot wait for more people to watch that and for that second season to come out and to be able to talk about One Piece even more. So yeah, One Piece all the way.
100%. That was absolutely one of my favorite shows of the year and probably my biggest surprise in terms of just how much I loved it. That is, you nailed it, Darce. It is such a fun pirate adventure. And when do we get those? We never get those anymore. It's not the 40s with Errol Flynn anymore. We never get to see fun pirate stuff, that doesn't star Johnny Depp. And, so it was fun to get a new pirate franchise to be excited about. The villains are ridiculous and over the top and yet work. The characters are silly and just bizarre, but have so much heart that you can't help but fall in love and root for them all along the way. I cannot wait for season 2, and it got me very excited about a live-action show coming out this year that we might mention a little later on in the program. You know what? I'm just going to jump in right here and say that if it wasn't for this next show, One Piece would have been my favorite. But yeah, I think the best show on television this year and maybe of all time was certainly Succession, and we saw that at the Golden Globes with all the love it got. My favorite show was The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I had never even considered watching it until a good friend of the program, Andrew Feltham, bugged me for about the 15th time. He's like, Kev, you're going to like it. Just watch it, man. And it turned into an instantly bingeable show. While the 5th and final season wasn't the best in the show's run, it terrifically ended a show that I fell in love with from start to finish. Amazing writing, this unbelievable ability to capture the era of the late 50s and early 60s with beautiful set pieces, incredible costuming, just tap your feet, incredible music, and then the performances. Rachel Brosnahan, Alex Borstein, Kevin Pollak, and then especially, and I am underlining, bolding, and italicizing the word, especially Tony Shalhoub. Holy moly, he was so fantastic in this show. If that was something that was weekly, I would have anticipated watching the next episode just to see how incredible he was going to be. I absolutely loved it. So yeah, another just surprise show that kind of came out of nowhere for me, and sad to have seen it wrapped up, but super thrilled that it wrapped up as wonderfully and poignantly as it did. Megan, why don't we move to you for your favorite show of the year?
Absolutely. There was some incredible TV this year, as there always seems to be since we've hit this streaming platform. It gives way to shows to have a little more access to, I guess, budget and all these things. But I mean, there was a couple of seasons that were not season 1 that I think exceeded expectations. For me, it's going to be Ted Lasso season 3 is my favorite show this
Football
year.
is life.
It was the most emotional and beautiful end to a show that I never wanted to see end. This show tackled themes that were so relevant and relatable, but twisted them into really positive and hopeful experiences. You always expect some sort of negative incident or drama to ensue, but then something beautiful and meaningful would happen. This is a show I have and will always go back to for comfort and joy, which is basically my MO when it comes to entertainment. I'm inspired by the women of this show in their power and confidence, and equally inspired by the men in the way they tackle their emotions and relationships. Basically, I wanted it to just keep going, and I'm not okay. But it ended perfectly, but I'm not okay.
Yeah. No, it's one of those moments where it's like, I think, if you had told me that I was going to fall in love with a show about football, I would be like, no way, dude. I don't really care about sports, but just the energy and the love that you get from just watching this is so lovely. And I will just mention, if you want to keep watching something that I think is just as stellar, it's not my pick, but I will just shout it out. I do want to shout out Shrinking.
Criminal that it didn't get a nomination at the Golden Globes. Absolutely criminal.
Jason Segel did get a nom.
Jason Segel got a single nomination, right? Yeah. But the program itself and everyone involved should have got a little more love. Justin, how about yourself? What was your favorite show of 2023?
I guess it wasn't the Golden Globes favorite, but Shrinking was my favorite for 2023.
Get in there, buddy. Tell us why.
Well, in a lot of the same sentiments of what Meg was talking about in relation to Ted Lasso, I think Shrinking very much continues that conversation and that dialogue, but in a different way with a different set of characters. It's almost like you can see this Ted Lasso universe, if you will, right? Like, I know we're talking about a football show, but at the root of Ted Lasso, it is an exploration of emotions and friendships and relationships and balancing your own mental health in relation to other things that can work against you at times. And Shrinking, again, continues that dialogue, as I said, with a whole bunch of new characters, very lovable characters. Jason Segel's fantastic. Harrison Ford is incredibly delightful.
So hilarious.
He's just so charming, and it's so good to see him in a capacity where he's doing something like this, comedy, and whatnot. But the real highlight of the show is Jessica Williams as Gabby. She brought such an honesty and authenticity to her performance that only added to this nuance of the comedy feeling so real, not forced. So I really enjoyed it. So yeah, Shrinking is my favorite show of 2023. I called it at the beginning of the year, and when I was going through this list, there's so many great TV. Like, again, like you guys were saying, TV has killed it this year. It continues to be the new form of storytelling outside of cinema, outside of theater, outside of movies, and I think that it's finding its footing with all these different properties. We talk about Star Wars and MCU stuff. They're figuring it out, but then we talk about these really heartfelt shows like Ted Lasso or Shrinking that really do have you invested. And another great show too, just as an honorable, is Reservation Dogs. Season 3 was absolutely outstanding. I think it definitely delivered on a satisfying ending, much like Ted Lasso season 3.
Yeah, you hear the old saying, you don't want to outstay your welcome. But with a show like Ted Lasso, like no, you're more than welcome to have stayed a little bit longer. But
you can stay
longer. At least we have Shrinking to sort of carry on that mantle of these shows tackling difficult, could be
relatable,
very depressing, but yes, very relatable issues in that lovely sort of sentiment. It's a really beautiful style
of its own.
It's a really lovely storytelling style that Apple is absolutely hitting it out of the park with. Nate, we are wrapping up another category with you, my friend. What was your favorite show of the year?
Wrapping up or webbing up? No, I don't.
Oh my God,
Spider-Man. Not this year. Maybe next year.
Spidey and His Amazing Friends. That's a great show on Disney Plus.
No, it's as Megan said, and I think as we've all kind of mentioned, looking at our reviews for 2023, it's the majority of them were for TV shows and for streaming shows, and these shows that were just phenomenal, and either they were premiering or they were coming back for a season 2 or 3. So it was such a tough choice to narrow it down. This was the hardest category for me. Succession knocked my socks off. Kevin, thank you so much for convincing me to get into that show and to watch that show all the way through. Incredible return of Loki with season 2 that we just sort of went through. But I wanted to choose something that premiered in 2023. Which was, again, really tough. Gen V coming off The Boys was incredible. Ahsoka, as a Star Wars fan, is just as good as Bad Batch, I think. Again, just so much good TV, but I ended up settling on HBO's The Last of Us. What a damn good show. And I said in my review for The Last of Us Part 2, the video game, that it pushes the medium forward in terms of storytelling. And this does the same thing, but for video game adaptations. I think this show is setting a new bar for how to deliver incredible stories that so many people are missing out on because they either don't like games or they don't have the time or maybe they physically cannot enjoy them. The music in this series is hauntingly beautiful, and of course incredible performances from Pedro Pascal. Bella Ramsey are next level, and I mean everyone, even if you didn't watch the show, you heard about episode 3 starring the award-winning Emmy winner Nick Offerman, and as well as the incredible Murray Bartlett. I don't think anyone who watched that episode will ever forget it. So I'm blown away by the show. I'm so excited for season 2, especially hearing the casting of Caitlin Dever as Abby for season 2. I am so stoked. But yeah, The Last of Us was just incredible.
And did we finally get that video game adaptation that just knocked it out of the park? I think we absolutely did. But it's now time to flip the page and paint a picture of our favorite animated projects of the year. And I don't think there's anybody there's a few of you on the panel that we could start this off. But Meg, I'm 100% going to you here. What was your favorite animated project of the year?
Well, I'm going to shout out a few incredible animated things we got this year because we got so much amazing animation, TV and movies. We got Star Wars Vision Season 2 with incredible animation from animation studios all across the world. We got What If Season 2 right at the end of the year, and it was amazing. We got a movie that's taken 10 years to create. We got an incredible Disney film that added so much to the lore of Disney. But we've already mentioned it. But this is my absolute favorite animated movie of the year, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I can't pick anything else. It just was iconic and incredible, a beautiful piece of work, gorgeous colors, totally out-of-the-box technology. I'm going to repeat a lot of what Nate said. Leaps and bounds made in the world of animation with the previous movie and this one, and I'm sure with the next one. This movie had all of the Marvel I could handle and actually didn't overdo it, surprisingly so. With the amount of characters that were introduced and the worlds that we were brought to, it easily could have felt crowded, but each one of these characters got the appropriate amount of time to shine while keeping this story about Miles. It gave light to the direction of the Spider-Verse and Miles' journey, and I just absolutely can't wait to see what they do in Beyond the Spider-Verse.
Like, do you think it'll be better, Megan? Do you think they have a way to top what we got?
You know what? I think that each movie is standing on its own. I don't think there's a better or worse. I think they're all, at least the first two, are their own movies, and I'm just really excited to see the next one.
It's gonna be so good.
Yeah, I think it's, when you talk about at least when you think about the technical achievements of Across the Spider-Verse, it pushes boundaries in its method of storytelling and breaking the conventions of what animated movies look like. And I think that they've set that precedence with their art style, which has been, again, constantly worked on before we got to Across the Spider-Verse. So it'll be interesting to see what the next iteration of that imagination looks like in Beyond. But it also begs the question, like, what more can they do without really shifting their style? We'll have to wait and see. But it's nonetheless, it's definitely a crowning achievement in animation for sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it changed the game in a lot of ways, and invented sort of visual styles that we hadn't really seen. But that's not to say that there weren't a lot of other incredible animated projects this year. Nate, what was your favorite?
Yeah, it's because, again, I think this is the year of animation, as I've been saying, and I think I should get a T-shirt or a tattoo with that. I think 2023, the year of animation. But no, I think there's a reason we have this category this year, and again, it was tough to narrow down. But I'm going to go with something that was somewhat of a surprise, I think, for a lot of us, and that's Blue Eye Samurai. Memoirs of a Geisha meets Mulan meets Kill Bill. This series was just, it continues to show why animation isn't just a genre. It's not just for kids. This is definitely not a show for kids. But the way that they were able to use the animation to tell different stories and to show different shots with these characters and these narratives, the way that they can only be done in animation. And I think I recently talked about this when we talked about Echo, but I love when a show can not only entertain me, but can also educate me so much. And this authentic look at the historical era of Edo Japan is just, it was phenomenal. The characters, the costume design, the way they walk or fight, the way that the animation team at Blue Spirit Studios worked closely with historians just to ensure the accuracy of the historical moments that they were showing on screen is phenomenal. And again, it's a story, it's a fictional story, but it's set within a real time period, and it's just top notch. And the action and the cast and everything is so great about it. And they're gonna get season 2. So I'm so stoked.
Yeah, me too, because Blue-Eyed Samurai is actually my pick as well. But before I talk about that, let me just give some honorable mentions here. My most anticipated movie for 2023 was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, and I have to say that movie did not disappoint. It did not miss the mark. It delivered on everything I hoped for. You know, the way we were talking about Across the Spider-Verse, you know, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem finds its own unique style, its own unique look that is so perfect for the Turtles. And you see it in every frame, this sort of grungy, sketchy look to the characters that feels almost like unfinished and unpolished. You know, there's a beauty in the imperfections, if you will. So that movie definitely didn't disappoint. Another movie, though, just to give a quick shout out to, is Nimona.
Yeah, Nimona was my number 2.
There you go.
It was fantastic and such a beautiful story and gorgeous animation. And yeah, Nimona's a fantastic character.
Yeah, no, and rightfully so. This movie was a total surprise, I think, for all of us. We were so taken back with its story, its visual look. You know, Netflix animation, you know, seriously killed it. And for myself to be so lucky to sit down with the creator, N.D. Stevens, and the directors of the film, Nick Bruno and Troy Quain, as well as the entire cast of Nimona, you know, that was definitely one of the huge highlights for me for 2023, just because it was such a surprise. I was so taken back by it. And that's very much how I feel about my pick with Blue-Eyed Samurai. It was such a surprise. I remember I brought it to Nate and Darcy, and they were like, yeah, okay, let's check it out. I knew right off the bat that this was going to be something great, and I was definitely taken back with how special it was. You know, you already called it out, Nate. It's such a revenge story. It brings together so many different existing stories like Kill Bill, Memoirs of a Geisha, Mulan. But I think those can also be sort of generalizations. I think what the beauty is about Blue-Eyed Samurai is its commitment to the historical accuracy, like you were pointing out, while also doing something new and taking a more modern approach. I would almost compare a show like this to Game of Thrones, you know, in terms of its seriousness and its levity that it brings to these dramatic situations. But, you know, this show does not hold punches back. It is gory. It is adult. The action and the choreography feels so fluid, similar to that of what we would see in live action. And the fact that they used live action techniques to help design the choreography is just a monumental success, and how you feel the moments of combat in this show, and just the depth that it goes to. And it's such a personal character journey. And I just think it's such a great example among all of the fine examples of animation that we've had through 2023 of a beautiful marriage between the medium of animation and storytelling. And I think that's why I was so surprised by this show and so taken back, and it's my favorite. And I'm stoked to see for season 2 as well.
It's going to be so good, dude.
It's going to be great. I can't wait to see it.
Darce, I know you loved all of those projects, so I'm very curious to see what topped your list this year.
And I already mentioned One Piece being incredible this year with the animation of Gear 5. I'm not going to go with that for my pick, though, because I'm not that big of a weeb. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem is the standout animated performance. Just the way that, at first, I was expecting we were going to get something that was visually similar to Spider-Verse and was going to be following a lot of those same, animation styles, but they completely
Push the boundaries.
subverted those expectations and did their own thing. And the way that they went, it almost looked like it was claymation at times, the way that there were sketched lines that were forward and the depth of field that they gave you with just these, different colors. It was incredible start to finish and just an overall fun movie. I honestly cannot wait to watch the series that's coming out of that movie leading into the second movie. So yeah, Mutant Mayhem is by far my favorite animated thing. Although I will say Scott Pilgrim Takes Off is a close second. So
Yeah.
Well, I will say I haven't seen that one yet, and if anybody knows my thoughts on Scott Pilgrim, there's a reason I haven't jumped into it, but I'll get there eventually. But no, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was also my favorite choice of the year. Like you said, the animation style where it looked like claymation, it looked like when the characters were standing in front of the camera, it was like there was little like thumbprints in their heads, almost as if they had been like the imperfections made it perfect, and I thought that was such a cool touch to add to it. And then, like, Jackie Chan as Splinter is everything I always wanted from that character and so much more. Like, you got an animated Jackie Chan fight scene, which I haven't seen since the Jackie Chan animated television show back from the late 90s, early 2000s. So
Jackie Chan Adventures,
that's
baby.
the one. So, no, that movie was an absolute delight. And like you said, Darce, it set up so much for its universe, and the fact that it was a resounding success with audiences, both critically and financially, it's exciting to think we're going to get more from these. Somebody finally did Ninja Turtles right for the first time in a very long time, so that is exciting.
Yeah, one of the things I loved so much about that movie specifically was the character design. It was so grungy and also as if a kid drew it. Like that, it gave off that very old school nostalgic vibe, and that was probably one of my favorite parts about that movie was the character design.
Yeah, it's hard to decide what's cuter though, baby turtles or Mayday Parker. I don't know. They're both up there for me, both equally cute, but.
I'm surprised nobody said the boy in the hair.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised.
I thought that was going to be
on my short
Darcy's.
list.
It's
That was
up
on my
there
short
as
list too. Again, I'm a big weeb. I like me some anime. And Ghibli's up there, but again, TMNT blew it out of the park for me just because it was so special.
No, I was a little surprised, Darce, just because you and Nate, your review for Boy in the Heron had me like, man, I got to watch this movie. You guys did such a great job pimping that movie up. And Darce, your anime knowledge was really, I learned a lot about the studio and the art style just by listening to that episode. It was one of my favorite episodes that we did this year. So I'm excited for my Oscar watch binge as I get ready for the big show, because there's two animated projects, Nimona and Boy in the Heron, that I am stoked to check out. But it's time to change things up just a little. Let's grab those controllers and button mash our favorite games of the year. Nate, I don't think there's any question who's starting this one off. Hit it up, buddy.
Well, let me wrap this one up, or should I say web this one up. How many times can I do that this episode? I think there is a certain game by Nintendo that I will hold off from mentioning that I think was just a technical achievement, and it's just, I think, like Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse and what I'm about to talk about, I think it shows that we can get unbelievable sequels that can improve and iterate in new ways. But I think somebody else on our team might mention that one. So my favorite video game of 2023 and was the number one thing I was looking forward to in 2023. If you go back and listen to our previous recap episode, I went with Insomniac Spider-Man 2. I don't know why I was forgetting the title there. We've just been talking about this the entire time. Insomniac Spider-Man 2. I played the game. I platinumed it with a playtime of 42 hours over the course of about a week, playing the game straight. And I think, much like watching Barbie, I don't think the smile left my face the entire time that I was playing it. I think everything from the pacing of the game to the character development to the combat, it's incredible, and the heartfelt side missions I think were such a lovely surprise coming from the previous two games, Spider-Man 1 and Miles Morales. I think this game improves on everything that came before, and kudos to Insomniac for just creating one of the most cinematic games of the year. There's massive set pieces, incredible boss battles, and it's just such a damn fun time to move around in that game. It blew me away.
Yeah, I'm not a big gamer, so my list was quite limited, but this was an easy choice for me. The first Spider-Man by Insomniac it finally convinced me to go out and buy a PS4. And so Insomniac, they did it again, just in terms of the unbelievable fun that I'm having playing. I'm 68% of the way to my platinum trophy. I don't do that very often, but when a game like this comes around, you mentioned so many of the aspects. I mean, the fact that I can absolutely kick ass at this game, and I don't have to button mash because the controls are just so fluid and natural. It's such a unique experience for a very bad video game player like myself. The fact that they somehow improved on the traversal aspects and getting around got more fun this time around is like such a testament to the game. And then like the creativity of those boss battles, it like getting you to use everything you've learned throughout the game and finding different ways to face these different big bads. I would say my only issue is that those big bad boss battles are a little far between at some points of the game. Especially if you're doing a lot of the side missions in between, but that's a very slight, negative against the game. Otherwise, absolutely perfect. And yeah, one of the best games I've ever played. Justin, how about yourself?
Yeah, I think the game of the year definitely should go to Spider-Man 2. I think for all the right reasons that you guys said, it's definitely a great balance between storytelling, because they have a lot of fun with the way that they're telling their story, and gameplay experiences that feel worthwhile, that inform the story. So yeah, Spider-Man 2 is the game as well for me.
Yeah, I think it's incredible what they're able to pull off over at Insomniac, but I cannot wait for the next Spider-Man game, and I think definitely Wolverine. It's just nuts to me that the studio can be producing so many games so rapidly, so quickly, but then still at such a high quality. Phenomenal job.
Awesome. Okay, well, Nate, you alluded to it earlier, and I think anybody who's listened to the show knows where we're going next. Meg, what was your favorite game of the year, I wonder?
I don't know. There was so many I was looking forward to this year. No, I mean, it's 1000% obvious. Tears of the Kingdom was the most incredible game. I have been waiting for this game since it was initially announced in 2019, and I have not thought about anything else. Maybe my wedding, but mostly Tears of the Kingdom. I had huge expectations for this game. I was watching every analysis video. I was looking up all the lore, and those expectations were met and exceeded. It was incredible story, unimaginable gameplay that none of us saw coming, and basically Breath of the Wild on steroids. It took forever to complete this game, and I still have so many hours to play side quests and find new corners of this map that I thought I already found, but I felt fulfilled and content with this extraordinary game. I'm really excited to see what they do with Link and Zelda next, because I literally have no idea aside from maybe a movie.
Oh.
So my game is also the same as Meg's.
Okay, good.
Basically all the same reasons she said. I think my biggest thing is the fact that it made me go out and collect 900 more Koroks on the same map. Speaks testaments to how good the game is. Because I went, all the hours I put into it was great. But I'm going to go on and shout out the other Nintendo titles I love, because Nintendo is why I fell in love with gaming to begin with. And this year has been stellar for Nintendo releases. We had Pikmin 4 earlier, Super Mario Wonder reinventing the side-scrolling Mario genre and giving it a whole new spin. Nintendo is blowing it out of the park. Their IP, they constantly get right. So any Nintendo game with characters they created, I'm always going to buy.
And then I also just want to quickly shout out, because I'm the biggest Harry Potter fan, maybe out of all of us. Hogwarts Legacy was phenomenal. I am so glad that I was very generously gifted a PlayStation 5 so I could play it on the best console to play it on. That was an amazing game, and it was such a cool way to discover Hogwarts in a new way.
Mm-hmm. You needed Quidditch, though. That's the only
I know.
Game. No Quidditch.
Next
That's
time.
why it's not my number one.
Yeah.
Next one.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to that one, and even borrowed my brother's Xbox so I could play it, slapped in the game, did the little intro, created my character, and then my wife took over, and that became her game of the summer. So I wouldn't know, but it does sound like it was absolutely phenomenal. But not all dreams come true. Sometimes our expectations get the best of us and we are let down. Now it's time to share our biggest disappointments of the year. And considering I'm the resident curmudgeon and the resident bummer of the program, I'm leading things off here. I've tried to keep my answers short for the other categories because I have a bit to say here, and it's going to be controversial. I had a hard time choosing just one thing here. Indiana Jones 5 was one of my most anticipated releases of the last decade. It certainly wasn't terrible and had just enough nostalgia to please parts of this diehard fan, but it was just okay. Like, really, really just okay. Season 3 of Mandalorian was forgettable at best. Secret Invasion and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania are amongst my least favorite MCU releases ever. And Wish was far from good enough in my mind to represent 100 years of Disney. So while I couldn't choose just one disappointment, there's a commonality between my aforementioned nominees. Disney. Disney was my biggest disappointment of the year. The company has never had its fingers dipped in more inkwells, and if they were firing on all cylinders, that would be an incredibly tantalizing thought. But perhaps they're stretching themselves too thin and trying to do too much all at once. While there were some highlights, Little Mermaid was a lovely live-action adaptation, Loki and Guardians 3 were incredible conclusions to incredible character arcs spanning more than 10 years, and Haunted Mansion fulfilled all of this Disney Park junkies' Easter egg desires. But there were far more misses than hits from the once seemingly infallible studio. Bob Iger addressed one of the major issues impacting the MCU right now, namely focusing too much on quantity instead of quality, and I think that can probably be applied to the studio as a whole. I'm far from giving up hope that they can regroup and rediscover their magic touch, but there definitely has to be a new approach from the studio before they lose decades of good faith from loyal fans by oversaturating the market with mediocrity.
Whoa. Kevin,
Mic drop.
we're going to Disney pretty soon. Like, are you going to be okay there? Like, what's
oh my gosh, Scott, everything's forgotten once you drive under the gate. Everything's forgotten. Are you kidding?
Yeah, get you a Dole Whip, Kevin. I think you'll be fine.
Yeah, don't worry.
You'll be fine. Put some Mickey ears on.
No,
You'll be okay.
That's one place where they aren't sort of. I haven't been disappointed by a lot that they've done at the parks. The new Guardians ride, I think that we tried for the first time this year, is maybe the best thing Disney did all year. It's incredible. Can't wait to ride it again. So yeah, don't worry. Those parks aren't going anywhere in my heart. They're tops. Don't worry. Just what disappointed you the most this year?
Well, in your nominees list there, it was in there. Secret Invasion, I think, was the biggest disappointment for me. I don't think I've actually been more angry at a show for wasting my time and wasting the time of fans. You're not wrong, Kevin. I don't think you're wrong to say Disney's a little off course, if you will, which is a big reason why I believe Bob Iger is back to steer the studio and the company back in a direction where it is quality over quantity and not the other way around. I enjoyed most of what Disney gave us this year. I do think that a studio that is always at the top, like Disney, is always going to be scrutinized and is always going to be hardly criticized by critics, by moviegoers, fans, so on and so forth. An excellent example would be something like Elemental, which wasn't well received, but through a longer theater run, was generally appreciated and generated a lot more money. I think that's a great example. But, with Marvel, it is crazy to see how some fans are right. Some things are really, really bad. But there was just so much hate around the Marvels, which was so undeserving. And it also just felt personal. But, in the grand scheme of things, we saw this with Lucasfilm back when, Solo dropped. They had to take a step back and reevaluate their strategy with storytelling. And I honestly think that Star Wars looks great. Ahsoka was such a huge highlight from 2023 and probably one of the best pieces of Star Wars content we've gotten in a really long time. But Marvel is definitely quantity over quality, and it is very apparent. And Secret Invasion is such a testament to that. There was no sense of quality in the story. There was no sense of attention to detail of the kind of story that they were going to tell. You have a show that comes out like Andor that does the gritty spy thriller in a galaxy far, far away so well, and yet you think that it would work really, really well, obviously, in the MCU, and it was fumbled. It was treated really poorly. I don't even understand the point of what that show was. And even watching the Marvels, it was even further an example of like the show didn't matter. Secret Invasion does not matter. Like there's so much about it that just was so apparent, and we've talked about it in the past when we're looking at something and it feels apparent that things have been taken out, things have been shifted, things have been recut, and the story that we're getting is not the original story. I've never seen a more glaring example from the MCU that obviously points out that things were changed and there was no sense of structure or course with the story. It started out strong, it ended really, really bad. And I think a lot of it has to do with, again, the quantity over quality. There just wasn't that attention that you would expect from Marvel. And I think it's just such a clear example that they really do need to get their bearings right with the kind of stories that they're telling and focusing on that quality piece. But, again, going back to what you're talking about with Disney, this is a big studio that owns a lot of different studio properties. Haters are going to hate a lot of the times, right? So I feel like that's a lot of what influences the negativity around Disney at the moment.
I'm right there alongside you, Justin. My biggest disappointment of the year is Secret Invasion. I think, looking at this category and thinking about things that were awful in 2023, like The Flash, was not something I was looking forward to watching. If anything, I didn't want to go see that movie, and I was proven correct to not enjoy it. I think, phenomenal performances in this series. Samuel L. Jackson, Charlene Woodard, Ben Mendelsohn, Olivia Colman, Kingsley Ben-Adir. If you can watch a supercut of some of the highlights of their performances from this series, do it. That is way more worth it.
And it would be an hour long,
yes,
rather than 6 hours.
Yes.
That's it.
And more enjoyable, for sure. I think we did a whole watch club on it, and it was clear to see that after the first 2 episodes, which we thought were fantastic, things just started to go downhill. No pun intended. Or was it? But no, I think, it's just you absolutely nailed it, Justin. The spy thriller aspect was missing. I didn't read the comic books for Secret Invasion, so I wasn't expecting like an earth-shattering event show. I was expecting a spy thriller, and especially coming off of watching all of the Mission Impossible movies leading up to watching Dead Reckoning Part 1, getting into this show and just seeing where they took it, it just got so messy halfway through. And it just felt like it was like, by the end of it, it just was, as you said, Justin, didn't feel like anything mattered, and it just felt kind of like a waste of time. So yeah, I am right there alongside you. Secret Invasion as my biggest disappointment of 2023.
It was like 6 episodes all to build up to a big baddie boss battle that wasn't nearly as good as it should have been, considering what they tried to do during that battle
with awful CGI.
Yes.
Oh, baby
Yes.
arm.
Yeah.
Baby arm, everyone.
Yeah.
Baby Drax arm. Not good.
And it goes back to that quantity over quality thing. The first phase of the MCU takes 12 hours and 45 minutes to watch. Phase 4 is 55 hours of content. There's too much. There's just too much. It's insane.
Wow.
That they're trying to do as much as they are, and that's where you're losing it.
Yeah, and the strategy of also like 20 movies over 10 years to get to Endgame, right? Now they want to do more with less time to get to Secret Wars. And then there's just so much in the pot, which is now like you have them designing Marvel Spotlight and, Marvel special presentation. So you understand what fits. And there's this whole idea of, well, this is more important than these things. Like, I don't know. There's no problem with giving us something like Echo, which is refreshing, or Daredevil, but like, I don't know, just care about the projects that you're doing, right? And, have a sense of standard to what you're doing, because it seems like there's an obvious shift in the quality of storytelling that's coming out. And, even though there is that thread that kind of binds it all together, the fact that the first 4 phases of the MCU were done over 10 years, that's a testament. That's what you celebrate, is that it took them 10 years, 20 movies to get to the big baddie that was always there. You know what I mean? So,
well, and now with all the controversy, who knows what they're doing, but maybe they'll take this, maybe use it as an opportunity to regroup, refocus, re-strategize, and figure your shit out, Marvel. Darcy, how about yourself? What bummed you out? What disappointed you this year?
Well, so I mean, as the big Marvel fan that I am, it isn't actually a Marvel property that disappointed me the most this year. The only DC character I read outside of Batman has always been the Flash. I always love the way they tell his stories and use his powers. And unfortunately, what we got in the Flash this year was everything I did not want. The way that they handled the character, the CGI, the poor use of the return of Michael Keaton's Batman, just everything about that movie, and just the way they presented the multiverse and the unnecessary cramming in of all these references to the past movies. It was done so poorly and so sloppily. It really made me fall out of love with the character, because again, the character was what drew me to the Flash, because he is kind of very quippy, very smart, very Spider-Man like in his presentation and his fighting, and we got a bit of that with the Barry Allen in this Flash movie, but everything else surrounding it was just god awful. So yeah, my biggest disappointment was definitely the Flash.
I still say it was okay.
I disagree.
I think that multiverse scene that you mentioned, Darcy, gross is just the word that I would come to mind with it. In different ways. In different ways.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. Yeah.
Jeez.
I think Megan's biggest disappointment is that the new Zelda game didn't come out after Tears of the Kingdom. Like another one didn't come out right away. Is that correct?
Yeah, we didn't get a trailer. No, I'm going pretty far from where you all are at in the superhero zone. My biggest disappointment this year was a season 4 of a show that I've been watching for like 3-4 years now. Sex Education, season 4. This show, the first 3 seasons, incredible. It is such a great show. If you haven't seen it, please go watch it. It's not preachy at all. It's exciting and boundary pushing and sexy, but it doesn't try to push these expositional narratives about like teenagers and sex and how you need to protect yourselves, and like Mean Girls, you know, if you have sex, you'll get pregnant and die. Like, this show actually talks about those subjects in a very insightful and educational way, but not pushing the narrative of like being scary. When they announced that season 4 would be the final season, my expectations were super high. I was preparing for an unbelievable ending, but this show did the exact opposite. They shoved way too many storylines into 8 one-hour episodes, and the preaching vibes kind of trickled in. There were so many new characters introduced with such a wide spread of representation, but none of those storylines and characters were given the space to share their experiences. I didn't leave the show feeling much for these new characters because I wasn't given the time to get to know them. And our tried and true characters went through some huge changes, but again, there wasn't enough time to give them space to experience those things. The show fell super flat and didn't hit me the way the first 3 seasons did. So I was really upset.
You
about
are
that.
not alone there. Looking at audience scores for over those 4 seasons, they actually went up over the first 3 seasons. Season 3 is the highest ranked from audience scores, and then season 4, it is significantly lower. So I think a lot of people were disappointed by that.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it has anything to do with the fact that Ncuti got what was announced as the 15th Doctor, and like that is a very demanding role. No, he's one of the stars of the show, Sex Education. With the fact that his upcoming role is going to be demanding so much time, and they were like, as opposed to continuing a story without him, maybe they were like, let's just end the story with all our characters still together. Like, I wonder if that was something that came into play, maybe or maybe
when
not.
they decided this was the final season.
When they decided it was the final season, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know, because they introduced like I don't even know, maybe almost 10 new characters that we were supposed to feel something for, and
Can't
the representation was like, no, we had transgender characters, we had deaf, we had blind, we had all these like paraplegic people who I wanted to understand where they came from and learn about their experience, but we got like bits here and there. Which makes you kind of not really care about them, which sucks because those kinds of stories need to be told, and this was the perfect platform to do it, and they failed, which sucks.
Well, we are not all doom and gloom here on the Geekcentric podcast. In fact, that's not what we're about at all. So I do think it's time we shift gears and look forward. It's time to share some of the movies, TV shows, and games we are most excited about for 2024. Justin, we need some brevity in here. We need to get this morose vibe shaken
Hype
off.
us up, bro.
Yeah,
Lift
man,
us
what's
up.
that
Let's
first
go.
thing that you just cannot wait to see this year?
Oh, dude, I don't know. There is a lot on this list, but
Yeah,
I think
we're certainly not going in ranking order of most anticipated.
No.
It'd be hard to quantify that, but just throw one out there. Let's see what it.
well, I'm going to throw the one that I think we're all looking forward to, just based on I think it's the popularity of the characters, and that's Deadpool 3. We were just talking about Marvel and not really having their shit together at the moment. But I think at the end of the day, we're obviously huge fans of the MCU, but we're not afraid to point out where there's opportunity. And I think, with Deadpool and the fact that they've made that the movie of their year of 2024, there's no other films of the MCU that'll be coming out then. I think we'll be getting a few shows, but I think this has the ability to kind of maybe allow Marvel to kind of find a new course of direction given everything that's been going on in 2023 for them. And, it's one slate of movies, kind of hit home whatever a bigger story is for them, and using Deadpool as the character that can kind of do that with the return of Hugh Jackman and obviously anyone else, because there's so many rumors about who the hell's in this movie. It'll just be really interesting, even with the hype of that, to see what it is that they're actually going to put in front of us as a film, and how self-referential it's going to be, given the fact that there's Fox characters and the MCU characters. So yeah, it'll be cool. Even I'm sure Deadpool will have something with Mickey Mouse and vulgarity and something like that as well, right? So
Yeah, Deadpool 3 is on the list for me as well. I just wanted to kind of, I think the first Deadpool movie was so great at giving a perfect blend of some of that sort of MCU humor that we would expect, but clearly in the Fox universe and with those characters. And I'm excited to see, even if they just touch on X-Men a little bit, I think it's going to be really cool. I hope we get a trailer soon for it. Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds in a movie together as Deadpool and Wolverine.
Finally.
Come on. It's incredible. I'm so excited.
that's what Ryan said to him too. It's like, Hugh, $1 billion,
Yeah.
just to have the two of us in there.
Done.
Right? You know what I
Done.
mean? Yeah, it's just like,
So good.
he was like, all right, I'll do it.
But
you know what I mean?
a multiversal, road trip movie is fantastic. And listen, I might be in a bit of the minority on this one in the geek world overall. I really enjoyed a lot of the aspects of She-Hulk and the humor in She-Hulk.
Yeah.
And I think
Same.
some of my
Loved it,
favorite
yeah.
moments in She-Hulk are the self-referential humor that we get around Marvel Studios. So, I think for a movie that can help heal some of the Marvel fandom, I think Deadpool 3 is the perfect opportunity for them to take a look at what was going on and maybe make some commentary about it that's going to get us laughing and chuckling and saying, you know what? It's okay, Marvel. We forgive
They
you.
got this.
Yeah.
They got this. They got this.
Yeah, I think outside of Fantastic Four and whatever they want to do with X-Men, this is definitely the property that has people most excited to see what they'll do with it in the MCU. And I think, you guys absolutely nailed it there. This is right near the top of my list. Just the fourth wall breaking, the Easter eggs, the multiversal madness that they can pull off with the Deadpool character can not only probably be the best representation of the multiverse we've seen yet, but also, like you said, do some things. They can course correct with that if they really want to. So it's very exciting to see. We have to wait a little while. That comes out on July 26th. That cannot come soon enough, but I'm sure there's a ton of other great things coming down the pipeline that we can look forward to before that. Let's go. Darce, what are you looking forward to most?
Well, I mean, I've already mentioned Chudi Gatwa earlier. He is returning to the role, or I guess beginning his role in full in the spring as the 15th Doctor. And after the 3 specials with the return of David Tennant and Catherine Tate as the 14th Doctor and Donna Noble, and then leading into that Christmas Day special where it was Chudi Gatwa's first full performance as the Doctor, I cannot be more excited to see what stories are going to tell. His Doctor is immediately so engaging and so compassionate and so different than any of the Doctors we've gotten before. I cannot wait to see how he's going to fix the problems that are thrown his way, basically. So yeah, Doctor Who, come this spring, I will be eagerly awaiting each episode.
Nate, have you jumped on the Doctor Who bandwagon yet? I know you
I
talked
said
about
that
it
I
all
would.
last year. Yeah.
I said that I would, and I didn't. I'm so sorry, Darcy. Both Doctor Who, One Piece, and also Dungeons and Dragons we're discovering. I'm very far behind. Maybe I gotta, maybe just dive into those, shut everything down, and watch those.
One of the nicest things about Doctor Who, and the fact that you haven't caught up yet with this new Doctor, it almost seems like it's a new jumping on point, much like the 9th Doctor was a reboot to the series. The 15th Doctor is a new jumping on point. You'll be introduced to everything that makes Doctor Who special, and if you like it, you can go back into that wealth of stories that they have.
Okay, I'm there.
Yeah, definitely give it a shot. I mean, if you want to give it a shot, they have that Christmas special that came out where it introduces the 15th Doctor and his companion Ruby Sunday. You will instantly fall in love with
as long as there's not like a cliffhanger of one of the episodes at the end of the season where a character just like comes out of the shadows and looks at the screen and then the music gets loud and I'm like, I don't know who that is.
No, Doctor Who doesn't do that. Good. When they do the references to other stuff, it'll be in the middle of a season where you'd be like, oh, I don't really get that episode, but I'm looking forward to what comes next.
Good.
So
good stuff.
Yeah, Russell T Davies is returning to the show. We're going to get some incredible storytelling. So
sweet.
Definitely worth checking out.
Well, Nate, you're not quite ready to jump into the blue telephone booth, but what are you very excited for this year?
Oh man, I am so stoked. This is a universe that we never talk about, and I'm just excited to kind of get into it. And that's Star Wars. There is going to be some wonderful Star Wars projects coming out, but I think the one that I'm most excited for in 2024, if it hits in 2024, I hope it does, is The Acolyte from Lucasfilm and Leslie Headland. This is touted as Frozen meets Kill Bill, and the show takes place between the High Republic and the prequels. And from the small amount of footage we saw, a trailer, Darcy and I, and then Justin, I think you found like the leaked one somehow online. This looks incredible. It's the classic Star Wars themes, the samurai cinema mixed with familial conflict. But I loved Squid Game, so getting to see Lee Jung-jae here as a Jedi Master is going to be awesome. There is a sequence we get to see in the trailer that is Carrie-Anne Moss as a Jedi going toe-to-toe with Amandla Stenberg's character, and it gives you Matrix vibes. Like, if you literally do the training scene and you replace Neo with Amandla Stenberg and Morpheus with Carrie-Anne Moss, it is that, but in Star Wars. It looks so dark. It looks so cool. I love when we can get a different perspective in a universe where we've really only seen stories told from one side, and it's gonna be awesome to watch. I cannot wait. It's gonna be amazing.
Plus Jedi Wookiee. Come
yeah.
on, I'll watch
Come
that.
on.
Like,
Come on.
About time we see that in live action. I'm with you, Nate. I think Star Wars is like, it's not just the Acolyte. I think it's everything that Star Wars is actually going to probably put out this year, with potentially Bad Batch season 3. We're going to be getting. I think Andor's actually been delayed from what I've heard, but I don't know if that's true.
It's one of my biggest disappointments of 2023.
Yeah, already.
Got it. You're
But we're also going to get the Skeleton Crew, so I'm really interested with that. I think, in the grand scheme of what we were talking about earlier, I think Lucasfilm is sort of figuring it out. They had a really great year, I think, even with Ahsoka, Bad Batch season 3, and then leading into those was Andor from 2022. I think Lucasfilm is figuring out their sort of their vibe and story, and obviously today with the recent news that The Mandalorian and Grogu will be in theaters as a movie, is more intriguing, given the fact that they've gone from television now and they're going to be going into a movie landscape. It'll be interesting to see what that's all about. But no, I think anything Star Wars this year has the potential to be really, really great. I'm very excited for Skeleton Crew 2, just to see what it's about, right? Yeah. Just to see how it's going to work. So,
there's lots of Star Wars coming down the pipeline, but I have a feeling we're going to shift directions slightly. Megan, what's something you're very excited for in this upcoming year?
Yeah, I've got a few. I've got a movie, a show, and a video game that I'm crossing my fingers I get to see this year. The movie is we're going to bring it back to Ryan Reynolds. a film directed by John Krasinski and written by John Krasinski, starring
If.
Ryan Reynolds, starring Steve Carell. I'm so excited for If. It looks amazing. I've been waiting for this movie for a while because I think I was listening to the Office Ladies podcast, and John Krasinski was on there for an interview, and he talks about, I'm working on this movie. I get to work with Steve again. And he talked about it being called Imaginary Friends. And then the moment I saw this trailer, I was like, okay, I'm ready for this. It looks so much fun and so uplifting. And I think we just need more of that in film. So I'm really, really excited for that movie. It comes out May 17th this year.
Yeah.
I have to agree with you there. It looks really cool. It also makes me think of Foster's Imaginary Home for Friends.
Yeah.
Live action.
Very similar vibes. A live action version of that with Ryan Reynolds. Sign me up. I'm in the theater first day. So yeah, I can't wait for that one either.
I also got like some weird, like almost like Wonka vibes. Do you know what I mean? Like the sort of whimsy of like, that world, and obviously interjected into something new here with it. But it definitely has, like, obviously the animation with live action, the very Chip and Dale or Who Framed Roger Rabbit, obviously famously using the mixed medium. So it looks cool that they're going to be bringing in all these elements to kind of give more depth and character. It looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, and gives a little bit of live action Monsters Inc. too, I feel.
Yes, there you go. Absolutely nailed that. Okay, well you went bright and bubbly and fun and lovely. I'm going to go heavy and dark, and I'm going with the sequel to a movie that I was excited for, but not really that excited for. I knew it was going to be a theatrical experience, but I didn't know how much I would just instantly fall in love with Dune. And so Dune Part 2, it being delayed was certainly a bummer. But you know what? The end of last year was super busy. So this gets to move into a bit more open space and really have time to breathe and stand on its own. Dune Part 2, March 1st. And the early word is that the second one is somehow better than the first, and that just has me even more excited. I might be the most excited for Dune Part 2. I cannot wait to ride some sandworms, baby. Yes, and to do the review so Nate can sing that song again.
I am predicting right now that it'll be Kevin's 2024 disappointment.
Oh no!
Shoot. You're bursting my bubble.
No, Flo Poo's in it. It can't be disappointing.
There we go. Right? Yeah. There's no chance.
Poo will flow.
As long as Austin Butler doesn't do the as long as Austin Butler doesn't have the Elvis accent, I will be happy.
As soon as hopefully they made him a mute. Just like he doesn't talk.
There's
no
eyes. No risk. There we go. I like it.
Austin, just don't talk. I think we're gonna go a new direction with this character.
I think I should maybe talk a little bit. Maybe. The character's wearing blue suede shoes. He's like, wait, what? That's an odd choice.
It was a really, really.
No, I'm just excited to stand outside the theater and sing a little Chalamet, Timothy Chalamet. It's gonna happen again. I'm stoked. Just what else are you looking forward to this year?
Well, I am interested in the Joker Folie à Deux.
Yeah,
it's gonna be weird. I love the idea, the concepts of a musical, but obviously, given what we got with the first Joker. Just that sort of mental psychotic side. So how that's going to play into it. There's this movie I've probably talked about in the past that stars Bjork. It's a European film called Dancer in the Dark. Just the whole concept around what this movie is with the Joker gives me those sort of vibes, a musical playing out in someone's mind and having those sort of really dark qualities to it. It'll be interesting to see how that one turns out.
I think it'll be really fun.
It might be. Watch it get nominated next year for like best musical
comedy.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Best musical comedy. Yeah, exactly. At the Golden Globes.
Amazing.
I mean, we have seen a comic book movie following up a movie that earned an Academy Award for Best Performance before not do as well as its predecessor. So hopefully that's not the case here. But I mean, bringing back
Joaquin, what movie are you talking about?
Dark Knight. I don't think Dark Knight Rises nearly reached the levels in terms of, and I think even its lasting legacy isn't quite up there with Dark Knight. So I was just trying to make a brief parallel between those things, and that Joaquin's role there is one of the best regarded comic book movie performances ever, and so to follow that up is always going to to be an incredibly challenging and daunting task. So maybe Phillips is onto something, saying, I'm going to switch things up here and do something really weird and quirky and different, And so that's probably clever.
That's the strategy of how you do it, right? Because I don't think obviously when Nolan was stepping into The Dark Knight Rises, he was intending on what happened with Heath, right? I think he very much would have completed that story and maybe had some more, another villain involved. But obviously it was kind of a forceful, let's wrap this up. And, that kind of shows where obviously Joaquin's going to be able to carry that performance through into a sequel and really, go the next level with the character.
Absolutely. No, it's going to be quite interesting to say the least. Let's just keep going around the table here. Darce, what are you looking forward to?
I've already mentioned it twice this podcast. Here comes the third one. One Piece.
What?
What's that? I'm talking about the anime, but I shared the intro for the newest arc with the batches because they are the big animation freaks in the group, and just the fact that the current animation in the show is going more that route that is Ghibli almost inspired, where there's so much dynamicness to the clothing and the hair. And I shared some smear frames where they are smearing everything they can possibly can just to make it look more goofy and fit the vibe that is Luffy. And then parallel that with the manga going on, entering its final saga and wrapping up one of the most impactful and touching backstories of these characters. I honestly cannot wait to see where their story goes. Eiichiro Oda is incredible storyteller and has the greatest foresight when it comes to telling these stories. When you look at Game of Thrones, which has almost as many characters and just as many, convoluted plot lines weaving together, Eiichiro Oda is doing it much better in that he knows where his end goal is going and how he wants to get there. And it's just such a thrilling ride to be along with. So yeah, One Piece, both anime and manga, has never been better.
Yeah, you sent us that trailer for this next part. And you got me hooked, Darce. I'm gonna go into it. I'm very intrigued
by this animation stuff. How many episodes, Darcy? You say you have to watch first?
It's about 1,100 episodes. First. So and 100 plus of those are fillers. You can cut
and then
those.
You'll fit right in there. Yeah.
I'll get a Darcy list, and then
there we go.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just have it on in the background as I'm doing stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But yeah, the animation's incredible this season, so I cannot wait to see what they do next. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, from one anime based on a manga to another, perhaps. Maybe not, though. I know one of us will bring it up at some point here, Nate, but I'm maybe leaning into something here. But so why don't you just tell us what the next on your list for most anticipated projects of 2024 is?
I don't have one that is an anime manga situation.
I think it's he meant live action
adaptation. Into a live action adaptation sort of idea.
Of an anime.
That's okay. You're not going to bend any air right now. That's fine. We're not going to bend air right now.
No, Kevin, I think that show, I'm worried about Avatar, to be honest with you. I think if we had a category that was biggest worry of 2024, it would be that series. I'm not, I don't know. We'll see. I really don't want it to be in our biggest disappointment category. I'm setting my expectations that it just won't get mentioned next year. That's the expectations, and then I hope I'll be surprised. But Darcy, you mentioned Game of Thrones. I got to talk about the last thing that I am super stoked for 2024, and that is House of the Dragon season 2. It's for a spinoff of Game of Thrones, this absolutely nails it. It's all the best parts of Game of Thrones, but done in a way that's amped up in terms of pacing while still giving you an in-depth look at these families and especially the Targaryens over the course of 28 years. And I'm just, from a performance standpoint, I think that was the best part about it is, Emma D'Arcy and Matt Smith and Olivia Cook are all going to be coming back.
Darcy.
Emma D'Arcy. Okay, it's not D'Arcy. I guess you would know.
You don't pronounce
D'Arcy.
That's why my name doesn't
have I'm going to call him D'Arcy. But no, I think, having the cast coming back, last season ended in a way that was just so horrific and shocking and gets you to a place where you're like, it's about to go down. And the trailer looks phenomenal. It looks like the show is going to continue that trajectory into tragedy, and I am here for it. More dragons, bigger battles, all-out war. I cannot wait. And Kevin, I know you and I are big Thrones people. D'Arcy as well, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that's definitely got to be on my list. I'm almost beside myself that I didn't even give it a brief honorable mention in best TV shows of last year. And I think.
Well, it was 2022 though. I think.
Oh, was
that
it?
one,
Okay,
believe
so
it or not.
I'm off the hook.
Yeah,
Good.
so you're
That's
good.
why I
You're
didn't
safe.
mention it, because it didn't come out last year. No, it makes perfect sense. But I will just say, I always think about, when I think about that show, I think about this video I saw on TikTok or whatever, Insta, whatever it was, and it was somebody filming an apartment building, and every single unit in this apartment building through their balconies are flashing the show at the exact same time.
The same time.
There's no such thing as like this destination viewing anymore, where everyone just turns on the TV at 9:00 to watch a show. But they did it for this one, and it paid off. And I think it was a resounding success. And so I have very, very high hopes. This is one of those ones where I might just have to quit watching entertainment altogether if this were to wind up on biggest disappointment of the year, because my expectations are very high for that one.
That was the third one on my list as well. Just again, me and you, Kev, listened to that the audiobook when we were driving to work the one time, or over many times at least, and just the story of the Targaryens is so interesting. The fact that they can be the crazy, the good, and we get a lot of that in the House of the Dragon. I cannot wait to see everyone bring it. Again, Matt Smith is so likable. There's got to be a turn at some point, because he does not play a very good Targaryen. So it's coming, and I cannot wait to see just the crazy ride that they'll take us on.
And I think one of the biggest successes of the show versus the original Game of Thrones series is that it is so focused on just this central group of characters rather than stretching themselves too thin over too many stories and too many characters. This is something that, because it's so concise and involves such a limited number of players, they're able to play with time a bit differently and really focus on these characters and give us more about just their story. And so I think that's only going to benefit it going forward. And there is some comeuppance and revenge coming, and I cannot wait to see it. Speaking of can't wait to see, Meg, what's next on your list?
Absolutely. Mine's another adaptation TV show, but this is an animated one. Arcane season 2 is meant to be coming this November, and I am stoked. This was a show that I was not prepared to watch. It was never anything that was on my radar, and I think in the art community, I just saw it popping up so much, so I threw it on while I was drawing one day, and all of a sudden I wasn't drawing anymore, and I was just so sucked into this show. The 3-part of the season, the character development, the way they took characters from League of Legends and made them their own thing. I don't know much about League of Legends, but I feel like it's really just the characters and the places that they've used, but it has nothing to do with the game. I'm so looking forward to this show. It's going to be unbelievable. The teasers we've gotten have revealed nothing, and that's exactly what I want from a teaser. So I can't wait for that show.
Oh, it's so good.
Awesome.
So
Yeah,
good.
I think
Can't wait.
you guys are going to have a ball with the reviews for that one. So that'll be something to look forward to towards the end of the year. Justin, I know it's hard to limit it to just a few, just to 3 or whatever, but what else is near the top of your list for things you're most excited about?
Oh boy. Well, I don't know. It's movies for sure are definitely on that list. I know there's, like I said, Star Wars, and it's usually in the series space that Star Wars is kind of dominating. Another film that I was I'm really interested in seeing is Kingdom of Planet of the Apes.
Yes.
I've loved that franchise. I think I'm interested to see what Wes Ball's going to do with the next iteration of stories. The trailer was incredibly captivating. And it definitely has me ready to go. So I'm excited to do the rewatch of the movies leading into it, and getting myself fully immersed into Planet of the Apes again. But yeah, it's going to be. I'm hoping it's a good one. Again, like you guys were saying, I hope it's not on a disappointment list for 2024.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of exciting because it looks like we're now sort of getting to where the original movie takes place, and the monkeys have started
their apes, Kevin. Sorry,
apes. Yes, thank you. Oh boy. Yes, no, good correction.
They're going to listen to this. You know that.
Yes, it's they have. I'm sure they've invented iPods and iPads and whatnot in their society. But no, it's kind of neat that those 3 movies that we got over the last 10 years are almost just the lead in to the reboot of that original movie.
Yes.
Maybe that spaceship that they're talking about very briefly in the background on news channels on TVs and stuff. In the first one, that somebody's coming down for. I don't know. It's very exciting to see what they might do with it.
Maybe Mark Wahlberg's in it.
Oh goodness.
He's in the
And you ruined
spaceship.
any hype I have for it.
Biggest disappointment right away.
God, talking about the apes.
Oh yeah. Another one too. Just guys revisiting movies. Twister. Like
What?
I saw that on the list of movies. Like,
Twister?
Twister.
Yeah, there's
I don't know.
yeah. It's another tornado film. So like I don't. The one thing is that I don't know if it's a sequel or if it's a reboot.
I hope it's a prequel and we get to learn how the Twister was born. We get to see the Twister's origin story.
That
When
was
two air currents meet
Yeah.
at date.
It's actually done by
Science.
Pixar, right? And it's two air currents.
I would watch
Let's
that.
watch it. Let's watch it. It's like Elemental, but a side story. Okay.
It's like the happening all over again. It's the wind. It's the wind. Well, speaking of reboots or sequels, rebootquels, one I'm very looking forward to, but apprehensively so, is Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. The first rebootquel was so good, but the fact that Jason Reitman isn't coming back, they're replacing him in the director's chair. I mean, at least it's with the gentleman, I can't think of his name right now, who co-wrote Afterlife with him. The fact that we are getting the OG GBs back in Proton Pack, suiting up with a wonderful cast of new Ghostbusters, including Paul Rudd. I have hope for it. Back in New York, which is exciting for fans of the franchise. So yeah, that's the most apprehensive excitement I have for a project going into the year. Only time will tell. March 22nd is when that one comes out. So we'll have to see. Darce, how about yourself?
I mean, I think we've talked about most of the things I was excited for. The one movie I had on my list was Deadpool 3, but that was kicked off the most anticipated talks. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good things coming down the pipeline. So I am excited.
There's not a ton of video games though. Is the weird part. So
No,
that's where I'm
we got a big year of video games last
yeah.
year.
So they're taking their time. But
I don't know. There might be
Hold
one
on,
video
Meg
game.
mentioned
I
one.
mean, I have one that's supposed to come
The
out
Legend
this
of
year.
Zelda. Tears of the
No. It was supposed to come out last year and then it got pushed and now it's just at like a 2024 release date. There's no actual month. It's called The Plucky Squire. And this game is a 2D 3D mix game. It has a lot of essence of the new version of oh my gosh, what one is it? It's the Zelda game that they like redid for Switch.
Oh, Link's Awakening.
Thank you. It has the Link's Awakening like aesthetic, the sort of chibi, really cute, mushy looking characters. Gives off a lot of Hilda vibes, if you know the animated show Hilda. But it's like a storybook about a little knight, and it's 2D, and then all of a sudden he comes out of the book and he's like in a room and
so
he's
cool.
like gliding on a paperclip and it looks like everything I could ever want in a video game. And I really, really hope it comes out this year because I've been waiting for it for a while.
Yeah, I'm stoked for it as well. Look up a trailer of this. If you're driving right
It's
now,
so cute.
pull over. It's worth it. Open up YouTube.
Yeah.
Check out the trailer. No, it does. Honestly, it looks so cool. I'm intrigued to see how it's going to run on Switch in comparison to PS5 and Xbox.
Sure.
Hopefully, with some of the mix of the 3D and side scrolling. But oh my gosh, does it ever look like it's going to be adorable and lovely and a good time? Yeah.
Well, there aren't many video games that you're looking forward to, Nate, but are there any other movies or TV shows that have you sort of piqued in terms of your interest?
I mean, I think I got through all the ones that I had, and I mean, even Justin, you brought up or Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Definitely excited. I think Inside Out 2 was maybe the only other one that I was like super stoked to kind of another Pixar movie, another Pixar sequel. Pixar and sequels are usually pretty good. So I'm really intrigued to see how this one turns out. So yeah, I think that might be the only other one.
More tears.
Definitely more feelings.
Yeah.
Well, I think the only other thing that I am very excited for, I am ready to jump on a saddle and get my rip on one last time for the part 2 of the 5th and final season of Yellowstone. This has been delayed for about a year, so no. I need to get back to Yellowstone Ranch and see what happens to these dastardly, lovable characters one last time. My boy Kevin Costner. Yeah, I'm excited for that. That's November, so finally get to see the Yellowstone saga wrap up. And my only hope is my boy Rip makes it out okay, or this is going on the disappointment list no matter what. Well, as you can see, there is so much to look forward to in 2024, and that includes a plethora of content from yours truly at Geekcentric, because we will be there to cover it all and then some, including more reviews, killer interviews, convention coverage, and so much more. Thank you for joining us today for our look back at 2023 and our look ahead at 2024. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to us wherever you listen to podcasts. And as a belated Christmas present, leave us a nice little rating so others know to join the Geekcentric universe as our big happy family continues to grow. We'd love to know what your favorite and biggest disappointments were from the world of entertainment in 2023, and can't wait to hear what you're looking most forward to from the year ahead. As always, you can do so by shooting us an email at wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. That's wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. Or if that is so last year and you're ready for a new year, new you, hit us up on all of our socials. Justin, where can they do that?
Well, they can reach us on X, formerly Twitter, at GeekcentricYT, or on Instagram at WeAreGeekcentric. They can also find us on TikTok at WeAreGeekcentric as well.
We are already hitting the ground running, as our first review of the year for Disney Plus's Echo is available now. So are some awesome interviews we did with the cast and crew for the latest entry into the MCU. Those interviews are available wherever you listen to podcast feeds and on YouTube at youtube.com/geekcentric, along with all of our awesome interviews from last year, including those with the cast of Rebel Moon and with director Zack Snyder. Grab a comfy reclining chair and sit back as Justin and Zach share some thoughts and experiences on that movie. Stay tuned this year for more interviews, more reviews, and more watch clubs for some of the projects we discussed today in our Looking Ahead segment, as well as so much more, including convention recaps. We have a little trip in August tentatively planned that would be our first look at D23. Hopefully we're doing more than just giving a recap from the internet feeds, and we can give you our
and
live.
Hopefully they don't ban you, Kevin, after listening to this. They might ban you from the D23 because
maybe I'll
Disney.
find a microphone. I'll pull I'll find a microphone and share my thoughts. I'll come with my little diatribe written out so I can let them know how I think. We also have our annual Oscar coverage coming out, which I get excited to do every single year. So the Golden Globes just got me started on my excitement for the big show. We're going to cover news and trailers. I could go on and on. Listen, 2024 promises to be our biggest and busiest year yet. So please make sure to join us throughout the year as we celebrate, debate, review, and discuss all the things that make the entertainment world such a geek-centric place to be. We'll see you right here next time. But until then,
love ya.
Laters.
Bye.
Get home safe, guys.
Peace.